So I have a pretty interesting start into pageantry, and I just won my title. I think it's two weeks now.
Yes.
So I'm really excited to be holding this. Is absolutely amazing because it's been my goal for 8 months, and I've been working really hard for it. So I stood on stage and just couldn't wait till I could tell Trinity and Alycia that I won. I was just standing there. Can we please finish the pictures? I just need to tell my coach. I'm done.
And we love that.
Yes. It was the absolute coolest moment ever. But I had a very interesting start into pageantry. And so I work a lot. I sell cars for a living. I'm actually at work right now. And all of my coworkers keep walking by and they're trying to distract me. So if you see me look over, that's what I'm doing.
It's okay. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So I work a lot, and I had a therapist, and she told me, Tiffany, you really need to get a hobby. You need to do something for you. You work way too much. And I thought, I mean, you're probably right. I probably should. And it just so happened that night I'm on Facebook, and I just happened to be scrolling, and I saw a ad for a Florida Petite pageant. And I sent it to one of my friends who's been competing in pageantry literally her entire life. And she was, of course, said, do it. You have to. And so I signed up, and I didn't take any of it seriously. I signed up. It was a good excuse to buy a pretty dress. And of course, I bought a pretty dress, and I showed up, and I just did it. And it was so much fun. And I'm even still friends with the girl who won my division. I was actually just talking to her this morning, and I came third runner-up in that. And after that, I realized I had so much fun. With zero preparation, I had to be somewhat good at this to place, because there was, I think, almost 15 girls in my division, and I placed. So I was like, I have to be somewhat good at this. And I was like, I want to do this again, but how do I do this again? And while I was there, I met Nancy, and she was the current Mrs. Petite USA. So to me, I was like, this is the coolest person in the entire world, obviously. Oh, and here they're passing by me. Actually, my mom just showed up. Sorry, guys.
Hi, Mom.
My mom just showed into my work. Mom, I'm in the middle of talking. So she gave us she has a book about networking. And after the pageant, I sat down, I had some extra time, and I read the book, and I thought, wow, this is great. I don't network myself. I really should. And I thought to myself, what else can I get better at? Well, I can get better at pageantry, and there's a book for networking. I'm sure there's a book for pageantry. So I went on Amazon and I Googled it, and that's how I found Alicia's book. So I buy the book, it gets to me. I'm reading through it and doing the exercises, and it mentions a podcast. So I find the podcast, and I start listening to it every day in my car. And now, mind you, I have a 5-minute drive to work. So it took a really long time to listen to them, to every episode, but thankfully they're pretty short and digestible. So it wasn't too bad. But so 4 months, I listened to Alycia speak every day into my head twice a day for 5-minute drive. And finally, I found that there was going to be a jump start. So I jumped in the jump start. I started watching all week. And finally, at the end of it, she started talking about the academy. And I don't know what it was, but in that moment, I truly felt like she was talking to me. It was very weird. I just knew that I had gotten all of these knowledge nuggets through these 4 months, but there was the core of it was just missing. And I knew that she was the core. She had the answer to my question. And so I just immediately signed up. I said, we're going to figure it out. I'm signing up. I don't know what I'm signing up for, but I'm doing it. And so I jumped right in, and we did a review of my first pageant. Thankfully, I had a bunch of videos so we could watch it and look at everything. And it was the most surreal moment ever, because I had just listened to this woman for 4 months, and now she's saying my name. And it was so cool. I felt like I was talking like the president or something. It was the coolest thing ever. So, and it was crazy too, because the next time I had spoken to her, immediately I figured out that one thing, and that was exactly what my legacy project would be. So I have a YouTube series. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Off-Roading Etiquette. And it's basically off-roading 101. I'm a car girl. I sell cars for a living. I have a big Jeep Wrangler. My dad's a mechanic. My brother builds custom Jeeps. I grew up with cars and I'm still in them. So it only felt natural that I'm in this community to do this. And it was also a woman speaking as opposed to a man trying to tell you. So it's usually a little easier for us. And so I immediately formulated what I was going to do. I told my family, I texted my mom and my brother, and I said, I'm creating a YouTube and I'm going to make these videos. And my brother immediately responded back. He said, I already have an established YouTube channel. Just put it on my YouTube channel. You can have your own series. So boom, I had the answer to it. I was going to make a YouTube, and I already have now an audience immediately. So it was a perfect storm, and this all happened. And then I created my my thumbnail. Oh, this was all within 30 minutes, mind you. I had a YouTube series and a thumbnail ready to go. It was quick.
Yeah.
And which was super cool. And I still use the exact same thumbnail now for it. So, so through working on it, it took me, I used the entire 6 months that I had, and I now have 8 videos on it. I did a chunk of the first 4, then I created the second 4, and they were nothing fancy. I shot them on my iPhone. I edited them on my iPhone and I uploaded them. And it was better to have something and it not be perfect than to not have anything. And I'm sure eventually I will go back and reshoot those and make them better. But for now, I have them, which is great. So I think too, because I'm really busy, and sometimes it can kind of sound like a lot when Alicia's talking about it, the commitment and stuff, but I really prioritized my time, and I only really gave about, I would say 2 to 3 hours a week towards the academy, where I would sit down. I would literally set an alarm on my phone. I have 1 hour. I'm going to watch these videos. I'm going to work on this exercise. Whatever me and Trinity talked about last week, that's what I'll talk, that's what I'll go over and work on. And so I gave me 2-3 hours, and I can move on, because I'm the kind of person, once you give me something, I'm going to run full force with it. And then I'll just burn myself out of it. So I knew I didn't want to do that. I was in this for the long haul. So I created all of this. I created all of, my heart story, my promise food plan, and all these really cool things, and got to pick out super fun dresses and outfits, because I'm a girly girl. That's my favorite. And I just kept doing it. I was consistent. I think that's part of it too. You have to be consistent, and you have to do the work. But you don't have to be overwhelmed by the work. You can pace yourself. Mm-hmm. It gets kind of scary, but I truly took the time. And that's what you have to do it, because my goal was, I'm going to win. There was never a doubt in my mind that I wasn't going to win, because I was prepared, and I knew I was prepared. And thankfully, when I got there and I had my interviews and I had my onstage question, I was so cool, calm, and collected. It was probably insane. I already knew the answer when she was halfway saying the question, because I already had it. It was insane, absolutely insane. Yes. And I just said it eloquently, and I said thank you. And I could see my mom. She's over here. I could see her out on the stage, off in the audience. And I walked off, and I sat back down, and I said, I've got this. I won. I know I did.
I love it.
I know I did.
Weren't your words something like, I felt like they handed me my question on a platter? Weren't your words something like that?
Yep. They handed it to me on a platter. It was exactly what I had worked on for 6 months. I had the perfect answer. Yes. And I was terrified, and Trinity can attest to this. I was terrified they were going to ask me some off the wall question, like if you could be a utensil in the kitchen, which one would it be? I was absolutely terrified. But they didn't, thankfully. But I do have an answer to which utensil I would be in the kitchen. So
and it would go back to your legacy project.
Yep. And it would go right back to my legacy project. So I wasn't all that worried. But it was just amazing. And if you listen to her podcast too, it was funny because she has an episode where she talks about what to do in your moment of crowning. And I listened to it the night before again. And I just literally did step by step. The podcast was just going in my head. I was like, stand there and smile and say thank you and bend down and let them sash me, crown me, make sure it's on straight. And I did the whole thing, and it was so amazing. I was holding back tears standing on the stage and like 20 minutes after it, but it was the most exciting moment. And I think the really cool part too is they could have crowned me a month before nationals, and I wholeheartedly think I would still place at least top 5, if not win, easily. I feel so prepared for that I asked Stephen Trinity, I'm like, what do I do next? I think
and we have a plan already in place.
We have a plan.
Yes, we have that plan for nationals in March already in place. There's so much that you have shared that I absolutely love. But I think my key takeaway from what you said is that you put in the consistent work. It wasn't a lot of time that you put in each week. You're very busy, so it might have felt like a lot of time at sometimes, but a couple of hours a week when you're walking through the academy and you have a coach walking you through step by step what to do. It's like what you said, it wasn't overwhelming. I believe that's what you said, that you just put in the work consistently, so that when you walked out on stage for your on-stage question, similar to Deborah's story yesterday, it probably sounded like you might have gotten a really easy question, but the reality of it is you had just put in the work and you knew you already had your answer because you put in the work. And it was beautiful, beautiful to watch and share in the excitement. When I saw your crown selfie, I screamed.
It was the coolest moment. And the first thing I did when I got off the stage too, because I'm a Jeep girl, is I immediately said, I want to go take a picture with my Jeep. I want to go outside. I want to go outside. And I made my family and my friend go outside, and I stood on top of my Jeep in my gown, in my crown, in my heels, stood on it and took a picture. And I immediately posted it because thankfully I have so many like people who support me in this, and some people who don't even know and just think it's super cool, and who have been so excited for me. Even at my work, everybody's going to want to take pictures after this because I'll have my crown, but it's been amazing. But you have to do it, and you just have to be consistent, but you don't have to be overwhelmed by it.
Yes.
And just keep going.
Such amazing, wise advice from the newly crowned United States of America's Miss Florida. Thank you, Tiffany, so much for joining us. So I know that you have an in-person audience there waiting for photos. I absolutely love it that you have so much support. Thank you for being a part of this today. I have treasured being a part of your journey and watching your success, and I know that you are just getting started. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.